Okay, so I took a trip over to Brafasco and I got, they are 5/8 by 20 by 1 inch grade 8 bolts. And I also picked up some of the 1/4 by 28 bolts to hold the drive hub on. I got a couple different sizes because I wasn't sure. So, with that on there, now I can actually put this sucker over top and it actually fits over it. So now we're moving forward. Alright, welcome back. So this is my 1944 2N. I've been working on it a little bit here, fixing a few things before I use it for the summer here. And I realized that there were no videos on YouTube about removing the top cover on a 9N or a 2N, because they are a little bit different than the 8N. So you're going to remove your perimeter bolts around the top. You're going to remove the pins from the 2 yokes. And then what you're going to do is, before you lift that top cover off, you're going to pull your side covers. And what you're going to see is there's these 2 pins. And if you don't pull them off, what happens is, in the bottom of the pump here, see that little T valve? And you run the risk of breaking it. So there's a little cotter pin on the back of there, which it's hard to see, but I already know it's there. So what I'm going to do here is put my mirror in here so that you hopefully can see it, and you'll see that there's, in fact, a little cotter pin there. So we'll have to pull the cotter pins out. You pull those 2 pins out, one on this side and another one over on this side. We're going to pull those 2 out, and then we can lift our top cover off so that we can either A, work on our pump, or B, work on the top piston. Alright, so last night I pulled the fenders off, and I popped all the front axle back on, and I put the 8N hubs on and put the tires on it. So I took the fenders off last night just so I'd have a little more room to work. Pulled off the brake on this side so I had more room to get into the inspection cover, which I pulled off. And I pulled off, obviously, the PTO shifter on this side. And I just took the top cover off. So if you're going to work on one of these 2Ns or 9Ns, they have this little T valve in the bottom of the pump here, and there's a spring that comes up here, and it oops, as I nearly drop it in the transmission, well, hydraulics anyway. So there's that spring that comes onto the shaft from it up to the top cover. So you got to take that spring off, and you got to take these 2 little pins out that go through the sides of here and hold it onto the 2 arms coming down off the top cover before you can lift it off. Otherwise you can screw up that little valve in the bottom. I'm surprised there's not as much sludge in here as I thought there was going to be. Mind you, I'm still going to clean it all out, drop the pump, do that, but I was expecting worse. So, with the top cover off, first thing we see is these are the 2 arms I was talking about, and the pins go through. And as you can see, this is my top piston. And it really, there's no resistance against it at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll have to fix that. Alright, so at this point I popped the old piston out of it and I've cleaned everything. I gave the cylinder a quick hone just because it's got some wear and what have you. So here's the difference between this one on the right side is the original piston, You can see they use 3 metal rings on it, sort of like a piston ring on an actual engine. So the one that most people go with to replace that is a little bit of an upgrade. It's the hydraulic piston for a Jubilee or NAA tractor that came after the N series, and they use a single rubber O-ring and then a leather O-ring, and the leather basically just wicks any of the fluid back, and it fits inside your piston housing. So I got it all lubricated, and I'll pop that back in there now.